I was living on hopes and dreams on the way here. Just put some E back in. It was literally running on fumes. The plate is on, looking fresh, good till October of 2021. I have the entire dash pulled out because I want to install a different stereo and a rear view mirror, which this thing doesn't have. Waiting on a few parts to come for those. And now we're back over at Tenths. And hopefully we're going to be doing some turbo stuff today, so we'll figure that out shortly. Got some goodies in the mail from Garrett Motion. Got a GTX 3076R with a T4 V-band out, hot side. Super pumped on that. So we're actually going to be lowering the power down to something that's manageable and spools before next month. So that's awesome. Also got 2 huge boxes of Radium Engineering stuff. So thank you to both of those guys for getting this stuff to me so quickly in this time crunch. It's now October 13th. So there's only 17 days until we basically leave for Drift Week 2. So we have a lot to do in a little amount of time. And I now have to go film a project with Icon on the 20th or the 19th through the 22nd. So that takes out a chunk of time that we could be working on the Sexus. So let's get to it. Now, Radium was kind enough to still support this Pro 3 Wonder, and I cannot thank them enough. They sent me the sick-ass filler jug, a 15-gallon fuel cell with a surge tank, fuel pressure regulator / damper, 2 big-ass catch cans, some wiring stuffs, a bunch of stickies, a bunch of stuff to give away during Drift Week 2, so get at me, a 1JZ non-VVTi fuel rail, and some Hatch shirt and swag. Did I mention how rad these dudes are? 8-gallon cell. 15-gallon cell. Looks okay. Looks freaking awesome. So today we got some Garrett Motion GTX 3076R goodies to put on. I don't know if that's blurry. It's probably better. So we're taking the old gigantic turbo off. We're gonna slap this on. We want to make less horsepower more efficiently and with more response. That turbo is really cool for putting down big numbers on the old dyno, just like any super lover would know, aka Dyno Queen. But I'd actually like to be able to drive this thing and have fun with it and not clutch kick 500 times to get it into boost. So we are disassembling everything. We're going to see what fits. I had to order some parts for oil drain and so on and so forth. But we need to mock everything up and see what we need to change and or not change beforehand. So that is what we're doing now. And Garrett was a sponsor of mine during Formula D, so they were nice enough to send out one of these. And I'm super pumped to be one of them spinny boys again. Thanks, Garrett. So I've got this roll cage padding SFI because this does have a harness bar that protrudes pretty decently far into the old passenger compartment. So I did want to get some of this on here, but I think I need to wait until we get the belts in from Status so that we can tighten it down, and then I'll put this over the end of the belt so I'm not ruining any of that, but at least some sort of padding on here. And then I'm going to wrap it with the big pool noodles so that it's comfortable, you know, just in case. So in typical New Mexico fashion, I know you can maybe see the police line now. We're sitting over here just working on the Lexus. I went to go run an errand, and now we're filling out police forms because that's how New Mexico does. I guess some dude was working on his car out there, and then all of a sudden things got shady, and a girl had a gash in her head, and her lighter and her cell phone are laying on the concrete right there. Right there, you see it. And then all the police and the fire department and everybody came, took her away. Now we got to write statements. Sick. Wow, what a day. Going to parts one for 5 minutes. Some girl gets clocked in the head, her brain's hanging out. They get put into an ambulance, then the detectives come. We have to fill out police reports. We weren't allowed to leave. Things got heavy, and then things got even heavier with the car. So all we were supposed to do is remove the old gigantic turbo. We were supposed to figure out what we needed to do to get the smaller turbo on, and then we kind of ran into a plethora of issues. The studs that actually hold the turbo onto the T4 flange were like snaggletooth, and it was extremely difficult to get the hot side housing off the manifold.
Had to pry the old turbo out.
Had to pry the old turbo out, so we tried to remove the bolts. They were welded in from the bottom, and one of them snapped. So then we were like, well, we got to take the manifold off. So then the manifold bolts were too long to tilt it over to the side to get it off, so we had to cut all of the manifold bolts across the top studs. Sorry, I know exactly what I'm talking about, as you can clearly see. I'm just recollecting this as it's kind of gone on. So got the manifold off, and we're like, all right, sick. Then we noticed coolant in the cylinder 1, so then we think head gasket.
It was oil condensation.
Oil condensation, says Scotty. And it wasn't normal.
And the rust in the exhaust.
And the rust in the exhaust.
But it is an E85 car.
Yes.
So rust in the exhaust is kind of normal.
Kind of normal. But then we did a leak down test, and zero leakage. None.
0 to 1%.
Zero.
Makes no sense.
So sick. So that's where we are now. Oil condensation in there, but none of the other ones have that. Compression was good. Thinking it maybe lifted the head. Gotta switch back. Thinking it maybe lifted the head. Not sure. Sick. The cam, also found out that the cam is a tooth off, a full tooth off, which is why we noticed that it was adjusted all the way to one side, which isn't normal when we were dynoing it the first time. And we're like, well, that's weird. Why would they do that? But now we know exactly why they did that. Another thing that we noticed was the coolant temperature sensor was scaled to read less. So it was scaled to read that it was at 180, and it was probably higher than that, 2 something. So that was a little bit suspect and or weird. But that's okay, because we have GPS to my rearview mirror. Right there. That's right. Rearview mirror has GPS. Sometimes that's all you can ask. This is small victories.
And the motor mount was like...
Oh, and the motor mount
was like 1 to 2 threads.
Held on by 2 threads. Got that taken care of. So we dug in for one thing, and now we're finding 800 different things. But that's good.
The nylock is still brand new.
Brand new nylock.
We could totally reuse these.
Bonus. So yeah, that's where we stand. We're going to leave this weekend and stop working on this, which really sucks.
You know, we got a huge time constraint. Let's fucking
let's go film a video with a different car. So we'll be doing that. Leaving Sunday, getting back Wednesday, and then we got to mob hard on this thing because we got a fuel system to put in, and now a head gasket, and
we're gonna do a head gasket.
We're not doing the head gasket.
No, it's a valve seal.
We're just bringing it with us.
The number 1 valve seal, number 1 exhaust valve seal.
Got it. Okay, so no head gasket, so just fuel system. We have to do some fabrication because it was lengthened to fit this big ass thing, which is also, which is also 4-inch V-band. So we're gonna have to change that back down to 3 and then get rid of that because I'm assuming this was for normal size turbos, so we're gonna have to shorten it.
It is kind of, they welded like 3 flanges on there to step it up to.
Yeah, so we've got some fuckery to unfuck. We're gonna have to call in the big guns. Plus, we got to get a 90-degree welded onto that bad boy. I think. I don't know. We might just get a silicone coupler for that. But that's where we stand. Yeah, sick. Just the turbo change, Scotty. Just the turbo change. Oh boy. Also, just for shits and gigs, I noticed some leakage down yonder. Took the cap off. I was like, oh, this is a pretty sick system for sloshing and foam. And then I was like, oh, look at that gasket. It's made of electrical tape.
No, they should have used duct tape. What fucking rookies?
Duct tape would have probably been better. But yeah, there's a electric tape gasket for the old power steering reservoir. Quick update. Emptied out the back of the IS. And I just took that up to mess with the stereo. The Radium stuff is sitting pretty, ready to go in. We're just kind of deciding where everything needs to go. Had to order some remote filler necks. We're gonna try to put the filler neck like right here, so it'll be easy to just gas up. Pretty stoked that we're even able to do that thanks to the modularity of Radium stuff. So yeah, that's what we're working on now. Was out in California for the last 4 days filming with Ernie and Icon for an undisclosed project to be released at an undisclosed time that is not a motorcycle versus car drift battle video, but it kind of is. So that's what we've been doing. Just got back yesterday around midnight, and now we're back at Tenths. As you can see, they have a sign up there now. It's beautiful, and we are currently getting this smexy looking Garrett GTX 3076R. Woo! All mounted up. Brian DeWitt from Car Crafters came over, grabbed all this stuff, fabbed up this because it used to be like right here, so had to notch that down a little bit. Fixed a stud that was welded in crooked over here and broke off. And we've just been slowly fixing the list of small things. We have this was missing hardware. The coil packs were missing hardware, so we got all of those bolted down. Brandon Wicknick brought us timing belt cover, which we're gonna do later. I got new injectors. I have a Radium fuel rail I need to put in still. So my performance fuel injectors are going to be replacing these 50 or 50, whatever. Scotty's not a big fan of those, and I've been using performance fuel injection for almost a decade now and have never had a problem with it. On top of that, they sent all of the flow charts. They're flow matched. So huge thanks to Stefan and Performance Fuel Injection for getting those out so quick all the way from Canada. So we are going to be tossing those in at some point. Gonna need to get some silicone for that, and I am going to pop on the rear view camera today so that we have that to back up onto the trailer all easy like. Now, the reason why we're swapping injectors out is because these, I believe, are 1400cc injectors. They were good when we made the 700 horsepower run, but for the efforts of daily driving and or anything else we want to do, they would be detrimental to what we're doing. So that's why we got a hold of performance fuel injection and got the smaller Johnnies so we could actually control them at idle and driving, and we don't need to make more than like 550, so these will be perfect.